Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy are not given creative leadership. Look, as in the other 2 points, let's start off one with prefacing it by saying one of the very first things Ted Sarandos and his executives said about the potential takeover is the fact that, we need to keep their creative leadership. That much was clear. They want to do that. I think, Rob, you and I speculated that the whole reason a couple of months ago David Zaslav and Warner Brothers gave Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy a big fat contract extension was because they realized that them being there adds value to the company for whoever may come along and take it over. Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy, under their leadership this year alone, Warner Brothers set the all-time Hollywood record for the longest streak of most films released to over $40 million at the box office. They broke the record with 6. They extended their record with 7. Record got broke with One Battle After Another, which didn't make $40 million in its opening weekend, but still, they set that record. They are cooking. They're cooking right now. Just for God's sakes, Mike DeLuca, Pam Abdy, David Zaslav, if you're watching this, at CinemaCon, Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy, man, great movie executives. Not the greatest showman.
No.
Maybe you get some vice presidents on stage at CinemaCon to do your presentation. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's get back to this. So all that's good, and all that's set up very well. But if Netflix goes in and says, okay, now Warner Brothers, you start doing your thing. And we anticipate and would expect a little bit of corporate oversight. Of course, there should be, and there would be, but for the most part, you let the company cook, do its thing. You give them their guidelines, you give them their budgets, whatever, but then you let them cook. But if at some point, some executive at Netflix says to Ted Sarandos, Pam and Mike are doing this. I think we should do this instead. And they start interfering in the creative of what Warner Brothers is doing. And then they just start slowly but surely shuffling Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy off to the side. And now it's a committee running Warner Brothers that maybe includes DeLuca and Abdy, but it's also with 5 other Netflix guys running that. Again, Sarandos saying, why would I invest $82 billion in that? I'm getting it for what it is. But if they don't, and they push DeLuca and Abdy to the side, and they start bypassing DeLuca and Abdy when it comes to the creative at Warner Brothers, to their credit, they're saying that's not what's going to happen. But if they do, this thing's a disaster. I told you I'd use that word a lot today. This thing would be an absolute disaster. The whole reason you get Warner Brothers right now is because of what DeLuca and Abdy have turned it into. Under the guidance of David Zaslav, obviously, but they are the studio heads of it. They are the ones making this thing run. They are the ones that brought it from what looked like, a lot of trouble, and they've resurrected this thing. Everything's going smooth. And, even Sarandos said in his comments, oh my God, movies like the ones they've been put out, he called them out by name. He said movies like Minecraft, Sinners, Weapons, these are all things, that's DeLuca and Abdy.
And that was impressive that he could just throw that off the top of his head. So
it was impressive.
He's paying attention.
That's right. And I'm glad
Ted.
that he is. But I'm telling you what, you take over Warner Brothers and you get handed the gift from the gods of creative executives like Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy. You damn well keep them in place and you let them cook and you let them bring you success. Because if they don't, this thing's going to get real messy really fast. And it's, again, going to be a disaster. Rob, I'm saying that bypassing DeLuca Abdy, making them diminutive in Warner Brothers, reducing their roles in there would absolutely be a recipe for catastrophe. How do you feel about that?
Well, you can look to what AT&T did at Warner Brothers.
Oh my God, that's a great example.
They are still, my friend at Warner Brothers that I was talking to brought them up and said the studio is still reeling from what AT&T did. This friend of mine that I was talking to that I adore, he was let go by AT&T, and then they realized that AT&T couldn't live without him, so they had to kind of sheepishly come back, and then finally they brought him back into the fold. But that's the mistake. The mistake, look, Pam Abdy and DeLuca, I keep saying it, it's like beating a dead horse. DeLuca has been a studio executive, a junior studio executive coming up through the ranks since the 80s. There is nobody at Netflix that knows more about making movies than Mike DeLuca does. There's nobody there. He's the baller. He's one of the top, and in terms of the industry, I don't think that there's any studio executive that can say that, yes, I wrote a screenplay that John Carpenter directed. And if you're a physical media fan, Arrow released a banger special version of that last month, which is In the Mouth of Madness. That's Mike DeLuca. Now, Mike DeLuca's not totally happy with how that movie came out, but what other studio executive has actually written a movie while they were at Warner, or while they were at New Line? And I just point that out because you have the best people already. And to come in and say, well, we really want to, because everybody wants to be a studio executive. They've watched the studio and they think, oh, I could do Seth Rogen's job.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks the movie business is the one business in the world that everybody thinks because they've watched movies, they know how to make movies. I've seen it my whole life. It's incredible. But they don't. And they certainly don't know how to run a studio and have talent. What Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca were doing, and it was called risky a year ago, was spending money and making those talent connections like the Paul Thomas Andersons and making a movie like One Battle After Another, which admittedly did not make as much money as Sinners, and it did not make as much money as Weapons, and it did not make as much money as Minecraft. However, it's probably going to win Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So their strategy is sound. They now have relationships with Zach Kreger. They brought Ryan Coogler back into the fold. Paul Thomas Anderson probably isn't going anywhere. You've got Craig Perry and the boys making the Final Destination movies are going to make another one. They are working. They're cooking with gas. And to come in and say, well, guys, we're not going to let you do that anymore. I mean, oh, really? We're delivering you 4 horror films that made over $1.2 billion collectively at the box office.
For a genre that does not do that.
No. And you've got, you're getting Conjuring. You're getting 9 Conjuring movies, and the last one was the most successful, $500 million, bros. I mean, it's incredible. So it's like, it would be, first of all, not only would it be disastrous, it would just be monumentally dumb from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
And look, the same is true of Truth, Justice, and whatever. You got James Gunn and Peter Safran.
Well,
over.
we'll get to that.
Oh,
we'll
right.
get to that
Okay,
in a
we haven't.
minute, yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to say that you got a great team. You've got. I would make a sports analogy, but I don't know enough about sports. John, what was the greatest hockey dynasty in the world? You've got that dynasty right now at Warner Brothers.
It's true. You really do. It's working. It's cooking. It's why you want Warner Brothers if you're Netflix. Ted Sarandos is saying he recognizes that. And that's part of the plan, and that he's saying that's why I spent $80 billion. Let's see if he holds it up, because if he does not, disaster. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Aura. Guys, if you are anything like me, you swear every year you're going to be on top of your Christmas shopping, and then suddenly it's December 20th, the shelves are empty, and you're standing around in Target asking yourself, does my aunt even like candles? But this year, I am not doing that because of Aura Frames. It's completely saved me. See, I always struggled with what to get people in my life, but this year I'm going to give out a couple of Aura Frames, and it's hands down the most personal, meaningful gift that I can possibly give. And here's the best part. Aura lets you upload unlimited photos and videos. Plus, the frame comes in a premium gift box with no price tag, so it feels like a classy, well thought out gift, even if you bought it last minute. Guys, you can't gift wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code CAMPEA at the checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code Campea. This deal is exclusive to our listeners, and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in on time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning that we sent you at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.